it's almost hindered you because you have to prove yourself that much more? Or has it opened some doors? At least it's gotten you comfortable being on stage if you were like in the womb on stage and then in like the swaddling blanket on stage. Like, yeah, you're pretty comfy on stage.
Yeah. The nepotism thing I think would apply if I sucked at what I did, if I'm being honest. And that, yes, especially, I mean, in terms of my education and development, I owe a lot of that to my mom and to Jim, right? Because they included me in what they were doing from a very early age, right? My dad waited until I was ready to start including me and stuff. Like the first things I started doing with my dad was I was just his recording engineer. So he'd fly me out, he'd be working on this or that, or he did a lot of production music for a while. And he just hired me to sit there and press record. And then he would start bringing me in on some sessions and stuff. And when he saw that like, oh, this dude can really play, he shows up in the studio as a professional. He gets the shit done. Then he started kind of bringing me in, but I always really appreciated that about my dad because he always let me earn my spot on my own value, not pushing me in because I'm his son. He's like, you got the
Mm.
gig because you're the right player for the gig, and I do really appreciate that. So I never really felt, I mean, and the biggest thing I did in terms of, notoriety or whatever was being on tour with the Bowie band. So after Bowie passed, all of his surviving band members, including my dad, created this tour called A Bowie Celebration. And they went out and they got different singers to come in, and I ended up getting hired for drums. That actually didn't even come through my dad. Yes, my dad was in the band, but that actually came from Sterling Campbell, who was David's drummer for the last like 20 or so years of David's career. Sterling was his drummer. I grew up kind of in some ways like under Sterling's wing. Like he would bring me up on stage at sound check for
That's
on
a great song title, by the way, Under Sterling's Wing. Just throwing that out there.
a market. No. And when it came time for this A Bowie Celebration thing to happen, Sterling, of course, was the call for the gig. He didn't have time to do it. He's been playing with the B-52s now for a really long time. He was on tour, and it was his idea. He's like, "Why don't you have Lee come in?" But it wasn't like Sterling told Mike Garson. Mike is like the brain behind the whole thing. It's really he spearheaded the whole Bowie thing. Mike still had me come in and audition, and that to me felt really good that I was given the door was open because, of course, of my relationship to my dad and my relationships with the Bowie team. But I didn't get the gig just because of that. I got it because I came in, I did the audition, I was the right guy for the gig. Yeah, I don't feel like I've had to prove myself, at least in that regard, to anybody else. I definitely have had to prove that to myself. Right. That I'm good enough to fill the shoes that I kind of was that were
Well, you're definitely an incredible drummer. So and an incredible human who really shows up and earns that trust. So I'm not surprised that you did get that gig. It was an incredible show. Is it on the interwebs that people can watch?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
So it's a
There's
Bowie celebration.
A Bowie Celebration. Yeah, and we did with that band, I think I did like 150 shows or something, and we did international touring, and it was freaking awesome. So, yeah, it's all there. It's all on the
I love
internet.
it.